This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. A very hot Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada out there on this July date. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, I have a return guest. We're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Office Space. I can't believe it's been 20 years. I saw that in the theater. And I have the awesome Todd Duffey back with us, who played Brian. How you do, Todd?
I'm doing well, Greg. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, but I need to know, how many pieces of flair are you wearing right now?
It's the 20th anniversary. You got to go with 20. Isn't that the rule?
Yeah, but you know what Mike Judge would say? He would say, look, I thought you wanted to express yourself. Brian always wore 37 pieces of flair.
Exactly, and a wonderful smile.
And a wonderful smile.
I still love that film, and I hope people still love that film. It was so much fun to make.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because it didn't do well when it came out in 1999. I did see it in the theater, you know, and I love stuff that's quirky. Yeah.
You're one of 12 people then, because it died in the theater, but it got new legs, new life, and on back when they had actual video cassettes. It went crazy.
Well, here's the thing, and I have this argument with anybody that tells me the box office dictates what people want to see. Not necessarily, because a lot of times the box office is aided by a healthy marketing campaign and this and that, you know. You take movies like The Big Lebowski and Office Space, they weren't huge hits, and look what they are now.
And it's kind of crazy. And I've actually heard some skeptics say that they actually marketed it poorly for the theater so that it would do better in at-home rentals. And I don't understand the backing on that, but if you want to go so far as to imagine that that's how they did it, great. I'm just lucky to have been a part of the thing.
Yeah, and of course, you know, the movie, I think Mike Judge was so good at writing quirky personalities. Every single character, even the minor ones, had something that just made them click, you know. And I don't know what it is about Mike Judge that's able to bring this stuff out, and he gets a really good cast that's able to do this. Like,
but I mean, and I don't watch too much of it, but from what I've seen and what I've heard from the fans, Silicon Valley is the same way. Like, he's just really found both the writing ability to bring that character out and then to find the right actors to take the characters on.
Yeah, well, he did the same thing with Extract, another film that didn't do real well either, but yet, again, I think it's really funny. I think, again, it's got characters that really draw on certain things, niches that either bug you or just stand out and make you laugh, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he's got another show. Gosh, I don't know. Why don't I know what network it's on? I'm a big fan of it, but it's called Tales from the Tour Bus, and it's just an animated interview of him with musicians from different genres of music in their history, and it's absolutely wonderful.
Well, before we talk more about Office Space, you know, I got to bring something up that we talked about when you were first on here.
Uh-oh. What do you got?
Did you ever try the pineapple core yet?
I did, and you are absolutely right. It is fantastic, but quietly so, because I was really trepidatious about it. I thought he said it, but I've never met this Greg guy other than talking to him online. I'm gonna put a knife and fork in it, and we're gonna see. But I'll be honest with you, it's like there's so much great stuff going on there.
Yeah, people throw the core out, but I find the core is even sweeter.
It is. It's crazy. You're absolutely right.
Yes, that means you got to listen to me from now on.
sometimes crazy ideas are actually good ideas to follow.
Yep. Oh, well, I love pineapple. It's my number one pick for a pizza, but I hear so many people question why I would eat the core. There's no seeds or anything in there. It's just really sweet.
It's one of those things. If you're ever on a deserted island and all they got is pineapple, let everyone else eat the pineapple and take the core, because no one would think to do that.
Yep. And I love it. No, I thought I'd throw that out there, and I thought about that driving in here today, too.
I love it. No, you've hit on a gold mine there. It's just don't tell anybody else, because we got to save it for ourselves.
That's right. The more pineapple core for us, I would imagine on a daily basis, you probably, anybody that recognizes you probably brings up the pieces of flair thing, eh?
They do. For good or for worse. I've actually had auditions where I knew something had gone wrong. Like, I'm just not the character type. I'm way too young, or I get to the audition. I look around and everyone else is different looking, and I'm thinking to myself, how did I get here? And I walk in, and the producers will say, "Sorry, man, we just wanted to meet you. We love your work. It was your Office Space was one of the funniest things we've ever seen." And I say, "Okay, would you like me to audition?" They're like, yeah, but you can tell, like, it's not the audition they wanted. They just wanted to shake hands and meet. And that kind of fandom, it's a little frustrating at times.
Yes.
But then you also get the great people, where it's in the grocery store, it's at a bus stop, it's wherever you are, and somebody just looks at you, and I know the look in their eye, and it's like, I know you from somewhere, and then all of a sudden it's that, oh my God, you're the guy, and it's fun. It's fun. I try to humor it as much as I can. There are times when I'm doing 9 other things, and so I try to stop down when I can, but for the most part, it's always in good fun.
9 other things? You mean 37?
Yes, indeed. Just so long as there's a tip at the end.
That's right. Even Jennifer Aniston, who was a big star before this film, she even came off very normal in this movie. I think it was the first time I'd seen her that I really, really appreciated her as an actress, because she had done a lot of those rom-coms, which you could kind of brush off. But between this and Horrible Bosses, I liked her in both. Yeah.
She's got a sense of humor about herself. She's not just a pretty person who can throw out pretty, fun lines. She's dedicated to the craft, and that's something that I hope she gets more of a chance to do. But I hear she's producing a lot now these days, so good for her.
Well, I guarantee you she's probably not producing any more pieces of flair. I think she put a stop to that.
Those were awesome. I saw on Facebook a friend of mine. He had been on for quite some time, and I guess he had done enough stuff that Facebook decided to send him actual pieces of flair of the history, little history moments on buttons, and he got this box of flair, and he had to share that with me. And I was like, oh my gosh, the thing just never stops. It keeps perpetuating itself.
Well, you know what? At home, and speaking of the Big Lebowski did this, and so did Office Space. I was going through one of the bookstores here, Chapter's bookstore, a few years ago at Christmas. Must have been almost 10 years ago now. And they have one of South Park too, and they had these little boxes that they look like packages, and you take them home, they've got stuff in them. And the Office Space one had a Jump to Conclusions mat in it.
Yes.
It had a little red stapler.
Oh, come on.
It had a mug with Bill Lumberg on it. It had some pieces of flair.
They just knew what they were doing with this film. It's amazing, And like I said, I don't know if it was pre-thought, like, or if it just kind of snowballed into the thing that it is. But the merchandise that came off of it years after, like, it's amazing, 10 years after the thing, stuff is popping up on, that you can buy anywhere that has to do with the show. T-shirts, calendars, like it's really interesting.
It's funny, too, because here we are in 2019, and it was referenced in the new Child's Play movie.
Oh, come on. I love it.
Well, you'll recognize the scene where they beat up the printer thing out in the field.
Yes.
Well, let's just say, I hate to give anything away, but replace the printer with Chucky.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Yep. And I guarantee you that scene was a reference. And, of course, Family Guy even referenced it.
Sure. Oh, yeah. No, I would love to work with Seth on anything he does. He's an incredibly creative mind.
Yeah, Brian and Stewie took them back to something.
I love it.
So that is funny, and I love the fact that, because, like I said, with The Big Lebowski, the big movie was Armageddon. Nobody's talking about Armageddon. People are talking about The Big Lebowski. Well, I remember when Office Space came out, the talk of the town was The Phantom Menace, the new Star Wars, which turned out to be such a disappointment in so many levels.
And that's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened after the first three. In fans of the entire franchise will say, yes, you're going to have hits and misses, but those first three were just solid films. Those are the ones I grew up on.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Star Wars?
It would be the second three in the trilogy, but the ones we all in the 70s and 80s grew up with.
Yeah, those I saw those all at the drive-in theater when we had them here.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah. Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Although I got to admit, I did love Rogue One and one of the other Star Wars, Episode 7. Right now, I'm forgetting what they called that, but
exactly, that's my problem. There's so many of them out there now.
Yeah,
it's those, and I've got friends who are massive Harry Potter fans, and they can quote back lines to me, and it's like that is true fanship right there.
I've got a Hermione figure home.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Emma Watson to me was the cutest one. I can say that now. She's older, and
right. But just talent-wise, she really brought it as a youth. Like you could tell that she was going to be doing more after this.
Well, when you first see her in Harry Potter, she's like this scruffy-looking girl. You look at her now, and she's a bombshell.
If you keep feeding them, I hear that happens sometimes.
I guess.
feed your children. See what happens to them. They grow up.
I guess, yeah. So, but yeah, Office Space took off, and I gotta tell you, what an array of personalities. And I was looking at your Internet Movie Database credits, and I noticed you was in an episode of Drew Carey, which had Diedrich Bader in it. Did that have something to do with you being in Office Space?
I wish. And that guy, I kid you not, one of the nicest people I have ever got to know, and I've never worked with him. I didn't actually work with him on Drew Carey. He was there at Drew Carey, and I think we were introduced to each other because of the commonality. We had Office Space. But even after that, I think I was catering something. No, where was I? What was I doing? I was downtown at a festival in Los Angeles, and he was coming out of a symphony concert, and he saw me, and he said, "Hey, Todd," and he was seriously maybe 50 yards away, and I look over, and the man is easily 6'6", 6'7", like he's enormous, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I said, "Diedrich," and it was really the first time we had ever had a chance to just see each other in public. And we spent 5-10 minutes just talking right there outside the symphony, and his wife came over, his kids were there. Just a lovely bunch of people.
I gotta say, Diedrich Bader to me had one of the funniest lines in the entire movie, where Peter Gibbons goes, Ron Livingston, of course, goes, what would you do if you had $1 million? And he goes, Tell you what I'd do. 2 chicks at the same time.
Yep.
If I was a millionaire, I bet you I could make that happen because chicks dig dudes with money. And then he goes, what would you do? And he goes, besides 2 chicks at the same time? He goes, yeah. And he goes, well, nothing. I'd sit on my ass all day and do nothing. And I love the delivery. He goes, nothing? You don't need $1 million to do nothing. Just look at my cousin. He's broke and don't do shit. I love that.
What would you do if somebody told you it sounds like you've got a case of the monies? Nothing. And what do you say back? He's like, damn, I believe you get your ass kicked for saying something like that.
Yeah, and you say it to him. Looks like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Exactly. It was. That's just what I'm saying. I mean, and it's as much fun as it was to do. I mean, you have to distance yourself from your work, because otherwise you're looking at all your flaws. But it's been so long now that I can sit there. I've been to parties where friends are playing it in the background. They're like, Todd, you're on the thing, and blah, blah, blah. And people will get in touch with me and want me to listen to it on my phone while they're watching it in real time. And they want me to do the line with them. And I'm like, this is the scariest Rocky Horror Picture Show I've ever been in. This is amazing. But yeah, no, it's become a lot of fun for me. I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed what it, just the joy that it's brought to my life. For a long time, it was hard being pigeonholed for the thing. But the work itself and what the work represents and the opportunities that I've had to, off of that work have just been worth it, worth it the entire way.
Well, here's the bright spot here, and I've heard this said by Olivia Newton-John, of course, who's had a major hit music career, but she said as far as her movie career goes, if Grease is the only hit she has, then she was happy to be in that film. Well, you kind of got the same thing there, you got Office Space, and I mean, I hope that you end up in other things, but if something happens, that, you're old and gray and you look back, you got Office Space, and that's a great thing. And it is. Mm-hmm. I'm both honored and humbled to have been a part of the thing. And there are very few people who can point to one thing in their life and say that kind of was a great moment, and it stands the testament of time as to how great life can be. That's I'm a very fortunate person. Well, and I hope you don't get old and gray too soon, because you're 2 years younger than me, so that wouldn't say much to me. I'm gonna have to get a walking cane with flair on it, I think. I don't know. Walking cane with flair. Yeah. So, is there anything going on this year to celebrate it? Like, I hear about Comic Cons and stuff that reach out to people. Is there anything going on for Office Space this year?
I heard it's the 20th anniversary.
Yes, it is.
My gosh. I can't imagine it's been that long. Like that's where did the time go?
I don't know, because 1999 was a great year for movies, I'll tell you. Yep.
It was indeed, at least on my end.
Well, I've got so many movies on Blu-ray from 1999 alone, including Office Space.
All right.
Yeah. That was a great year for watching movies for me. And Office Space come out, I think it was February that year. And, what a great way to start out, too. Nice, quirky comedy.
I was lucky. I was living in Dallas at the time. Mm-hmm. I think we talked about this the last interview, but I was living in Dallas at the time. I had already done my Walker, Texas Ranger. Mm-hmm. I was currently working on, at the time, Barney and Friends as a puppeteer.
You told me a funny story about that, I remember.
Exactly. And then my agent called up one day while I'm working the puppets, and she said, "Hey, I got an audition for you down in Austin. You think you can make it?" And Barney was so kind. They moved their schedule around. They said, "Yeah, go on down, do your thing. We'll, you're good enough doing the puppet thing. We understand you can do one and the other." So I ran down, same day, auditioned, did the callback, met Mike Judge, his producers and everything. We did the audition. We joked around, had a good time. And then I drove back, and when I got home, my pager was going off, and my agent said, "Hey, you booked the thing." And like 2 or 3 weeks later, we're shooting it. I'm having to, again, talk to Barney to say, "Hey, Barney, can I go down?" And Barney said, "Yeah, man, you're in a movie. That's awesome." It was a really neat world that kind of everybody worked together to make the happiness keep coming, and it was just a really wonderful time for me.
Do you have your own Barney doll?
Yes, I do. I've got a Barney doll. And I'm happy to say that.
Did you give one to Jennifer Aniston?
I'll give one to anyone who understands how great that show was and what it meant for so many people. That's another fan base that nobody's going to know me, by my face.
You're Scooter McNutty.
Exactly. They're not going to know that, but once they know, that everybody's got a story about, oh wow, when I was a kid, blah blah blah, and it's really neat to see how it reverberates through the generations.
Yeah. No, I love that story you told me about. And you know which one I'm talking about.
Oh, that poor guy. Yeah. Third degree lung burns, because that was his job. Hey, I'm going to be Barney today. And then he blows up inside the costume. Crazy.
Yeah, but kind of Barney costume run, you're uttering profanity.
Wiping kids out like he's Godzilla on a Tokyo set. It was awesome.
Yeah, but no, and you mentioned Texas Ranger. Did Chuck Norris wear flair?
Just one piece, a big tin star. That was it, and his cowboy hat. He's Chuck Norris. He is flair.
Yeah, but Mike Judge would ask him if if he wants to express himself.
Right, and he might do a roundhouse, to Mike Judge's head then, because he's Chuck Norris, and that's what Chuck Norris does. I don't know.
I heard good things about Chuck Norris. What was your experience with him?
He was the kindest man in the world, and it was kind of interesting how tiny the guy is. Like I think he's like 5'6", 5'7". He's not a big guy.
Oh yeah.
He wore boots that with the heel was a little larger. So he'd get a little more height. But just as a person, he was the nicest guy in the world.
Okay.
I didn't really even get a chance to work with him, but he was on the set that night. It was an overnight thing, and it was just that he came out. He's executive producer on his own show, so he's going to be a part of the thing, and it was just really, really kind of humbling to have him there.
Okay. Yeah, and of course you mentioned, Drew Carey and
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. That whole crew is awesome though. Or that whole cast, sorry.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, Drew was good. Dietrich was great. Who was the tall guy? Why am I blanking on his name? He was the other comedian on the show. Anyway, that entire cast was really talented and really just down to earth.
Yeah, I used to watch Drew Carey back. It seems so long ago now, but yet not so long ago.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of the name of the woman that was in that, the dark-haired woman. And now I'm kind of lost.
What's her? Krista Miller.
Yeah, that was it. I remember her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ryan Stiles was the guy I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
But John Carroll Lynch was on the set when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Craig Ferguson was on the show. So
wow.
I mean, yeah, there's a good group of people. Ian Gomez, who's a funny comedian or a comic actor. Yeah, they had a lot of high profile guest stars as well.
Yeah, they had you.
right? You know?
I'll call you a high-profile guest star.
I'll take it.
But yeah, and I noticed on here what Mike Judge in Office Space credited as William King. Why would he call himself William King? Why not just call himself Alan Smithy?
Manager. He gave me Brian, you know, and so I'll take Brian. Why not?
Yeah, but his character is Stan, but he's credited as William King.
I love it. Oh, and you know, there's a genius behind it that I'm sure if we knew what it all meant, we'd all get a good laugh from it. He's intelligent enough to know how to pull off things like that.
Yeah. So how much in your daily life when you get up, like, let's take a 7-day span, your week, how much does Office Space infiltrate you during your normal week?
Not much. I'm sure if I lived in the Hollywood area, maybe more, or if I lived in a normal, outside of Los Angeles area town, that would be fine. I live on the outskirts of Los Angeles, and I live in an Asian community, and unless it's in Mandarin or Cantonese, these people don't know anything, which I think is wonderful. Because I can walk the streets. I've learned a little bit of Mandarin, just enough to get me in trouble. So I'm kind of a stranger in a strange land, and it's humbling and it's wonderful. But at the same time, I can drive into Hollywood, and you know, it's more the real people in the world who recognize me. Your bartenders, your waiters, your grocery store checkout people, the people who have a moment to look at you and go, hey, are you somebody from something? But producers and directors and high up executives, they don't have time for it. So it's kind of this bittersweet role that gets me closer to the people in my world without really pushing any professional buttons.
Yeah. Do you still have the green and white striped waiter shirt?
You know, for my audition, I actually had a blue and white striped shirt, but much thicker stripes on the thing. And as soon as I got to the set and they showed me the shirts, I was like, "That's what I need." Yes, and I was, and I didn't buy the shirt off of wardrobe. I should have bought it because it would have done wonders. I go out as myself for Halloween because it's a great costume. But I still have to use my old blue and white shirt. I've never gone out to get a Foot Locker shirt yet, you know?
You go out as yourself for Halloween?
Why not? It's the one costume I can wear that everyone knows who I am.
Do you ever do the middle finger thing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. As soon as people see me and go, "Oh my God, you're the guy," then everybody wants to take a picture. So it's good fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I don't know. I hope that the cons do some stuff. Like I just started doing the cons. I had a Canadian actress invite me to one in Toronto, and that was awesome. And it was certainly different from my world, you know. And
well, and there's so many of those cult movie and television people there, and for someone like you to be able to communicate with those people, that must be gold.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, but I hope that they do something for Office Space for its 20th anniversary.
But they called me back for the 10-year anniversary. I'm still waiting on the email. The first 10-year anniversary I went to, I might have partied a little too hard, so I don't know that I'll be invited back. But if there is an invite, I'm definitely going. But I know next year there's a thing here in Los Angeles called WhedonCon. It's a Joss Whedon convention.
Okay.
And they're bringing me in to, I think next year they're doing the enemies or the evil people of Joss Whedon's world. and I get to come in as the minion Merc that I played on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, that's right. You were part of that.
Yeah. Oh. I'm telling you, I fall into all these little bitty crazy worlds, and it's been such a rewarding career. I've been very lucky.
Yeah, you get to work with that lovely Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Her, Allison Hannigan.
Yeah.
Who else was on there at the time?
Michelle Trachtenberg.
Just an incredible cast, really.
Yeah, Allison Hannigan, speaking of 20th anniversary, she was in American Pie that year.
That's right.
Yeah, she was in Band Camp.
Her and her flute.
Her and her flute. Yeah, but no, that sounds like it'll be awesome. You get to be part of that. What's the most unique thing you've ever been asked to sign at one of these?
I think I talked about this recently. I'm not sure who with, but I think it was an old man, and we just didn't have anything to sign, and it might have been for his grandkids who knew me from Barney or something. But he said, "Would you mind signing my hump?" And I had no idea what he was talking about. He turned around. He had a giant hump on his back. I immediately picked up a Sharpie. I didn't even want to think about it, and I just signed it, and they walked on. But yeah, that's what you get at some of these crazier conventions.
I wonder if he had it tattooed on himself. I hear about that.
That poor guy. And it's good for them. They got a sense of humor about it. And for me, it's a great story to tell at cocktail parties. But I'm constantly amazed at what people are willing to do when the rules don't apply.
So when you party too hard, like the regular party too hard at your last your 10-year get together, you weren't the only one partying too hard, I would hope.
I hope. I don't know. None of them shared a limo with me to the airport the next day. I unfortunately went in with Gary Cole and his wife, and they had to sit there and listen to me burp up alcohol from the night before and barely keep it down. And I think as soon as the limo door opened at the airport, I was throwing up on the sidewalk. And he, again, nicest guy in the world, so gracious. He's like, "Is there anything we can do? Do you want to go inside? We'll get you some coffee." And I said, "No, thank you." So I was just so embarrassed. And his wife was looking at me like, "Are you okay? Do you need to go to the hospital?" I was like, because the problem was after the actual showing of the film, and we did a Q&A, then they went to the place where we shot the tchotchke scene, and it was this little restaurant outside of Austin that looks just like one of those chain restaurants, and all of the staff there was dressed up like me in the movie, and we were all having a great time. But I drank way too much because all of them were buying shots for me. And I just got out of control. And I haven't seen any pictures. I don't think we were at a place in technology where anyone could have recorded it. But I'm sure there's something out there that can back my horrible story.
So Jennifer didn't go to this?
She decided, she deferred. She said, "You know what? That's probably not where I need to be seen, is with you crazy people." But when you're at that level, you've got handlers. You got people saying you don't need to be doing that, and you've got and most people are in their right mind. But me, I didn't have handlers, and I just thought, I'm young. I'm as famous as I can be at this thing. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy it. And there should always be somebody there to say, hey, you're going to regret this in the morning.
So you didn't get to throw up on Jennifer Aniston?
I didn't, and that's, of all the things I haven't done in my career, that would have been one of them, I'd say.
You would have got flipped off for sure.
I'm sure she feels she missed out on that as well. Absolutely. Let's call up Jennifer and see how she feels about my not vomiting on her not going to the party where I could have. Poor lady.
Yeah. Gary Cole, I loved him as Bill Lumbergh in this film.
He's brilliant. He's brilliant.
Did he dress like Bill Lumbergh for this Q&A?
No. He was. I think we were all much cooler at this thing, but it was a good turnout. I believe. Oh God, why am I blanking on his name? Michael Bolton. He was there.
The singer guy.
Yeah, the accounts payable Nina speaking. She was there. Gary Cole was there. Dietrich was there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Mike Judge was there because it's his town. He's the king, so he was there. But quite a few people showed up. It just not the. I don't think Ron was there. I don't think. I know Jennifer wasn't there because they're busy. They're doing more work, and it's us people down low who have the time to go hang out and enjoy the work that we have done.
So Michael Bolton showed up, the singer guy.
That guy, with the long strange hair, he was there. He's awesome. No talent, ass clown.
You got to think that Michael Bolton must have a good sense of humor about that reference about him in this movie.
He's gotta love it. Absolutely.
I love that line from David Herman too. He goes, "Why should I change? He's the one who sucks."
Exactly.
Oh, very funny stuff. So David Herman showed up to this, huh?
Thank you. Oh, why do I always? And he is one of the again, just an incredible cast. I have been so lucky to work with the people I've worked with. He just a wonderful human being.
What about Stephen Root, aka Milton?
Yeah, he wasn't there, but who was the jump to conclusions Matt guy? He was there.
Oh, I love. You know what? He has showed up in so many horror films. Like he was in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. He was in one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres.
Yep. He is one of the hardest working actors I know anywhere. Like if you look at his resume, it is like it's ridiculous. And the man's what? He's 70 years old, maybe older. I don't know, but Richard Reilly.
Yeah.
But unbelievably hardworking and incredibly talented. But he doesn't say no to anything. You want to pay him $100 a day? Fine, he's going to be there. He just really enjoys working, and his work ethic is like it's everyone in Hollywood knows it. They all know, like, if you need somebody who will give you the quality and he doesn't care about the pay, Richard Reilly.
Did he bring a jump to conclusions, Matt?
Oh. Yeah, and he wore the neck brace. And, no.
I like it when he goes, "Good things happen, Just look at me." He looks so bad.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh,
a pet.
I love that. What about Greg Pitts? Did he show up? He was Drew.
Yeah, no, I don't think he was there. He wasn't there either. He wasn't there. The O-face.
The O-face. Oh.
Yeah.
I tried to get him on here, and I know he read my message on Facebook, but he never ever got back to me. So, yeah,
he's a nice guy.
Yeah. So no, I you're the only one from the film I've had on here.
I'm taking one for the team, for everybody. This is me.
Well, hey, no complaints from me. I'm glad to have you on here twice. But I leave those doors open. Facebook's a strange thing, because if you're not on somebody's friends list, a lot of times messages get filtered, and sometimes I will hear from somebody months after I sent them a message.
And it's crazy, and somehow Facebook decides whether they're going to send you stuff or not. I know I post things that I will ask people weeks later, "Hey, did you see my post saying blah blah blah?" And they say, "No, I didn't see it." And it was meant for them to see. And I didn't connect them to it, but I just assume, if it's out there, they're going to run into it, and Facebook just hides stuff. It's weird.
I don't get it. Like, I interviewed Chip Hermaz from Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, and I reached out to him for the film's 10-year anniversary, and I heard back from him a year later.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was very apologetic, He felt that he missed the bus on it. But I said, no, come on. I want to hear about the movie.
Anytime's a good time.
That's fine with me. And I just interviewed David Bowe from UHF. I messaged him in March, and I just heard from him this month, So
that is awesome.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that those guys are all still out there, doing the thing.
Well, one of the things I like to hear is normal thing, everyday life. Like, I do this as a volunteer. Like, right. I have a regular job, something that the standard Hollywood image would probably not celebrate. But I work as a cleaner. That's what I do. And it puts money in my account. It allows me to go to conventions. It allows me to keep my cat happy. But it's not a glamorous job, And when I hear about somebody like Justin Bieber pissing in somebody's mop bucket, I'm like, there's an example of somebody who's spoiled and looks down on somebody who really is just trying to pay their bills.
Yep.
And it's that kind of image that the media seems to portray. Again, going back to Emma Stone, they write this exaggerated story, which I'm glad she clarified.
They glamorize the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yep. And you look at Office Space, Jennifer Aniston, easily the biggest star to come out of it. But it's hard to read about her because you're reading, you don't know what's true and what's not. And quite frankly, I get tired of reading about relationships told by a third person,
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's that's really nobody else's business, If and again, I'm willing to say this because people always like to turn it around on me, because I have chosen to do entertainment as my chosen profession, but you don't go to 7-Eleven and put the guy behind the counter on television and record everything that he does, no matter how good he is at his job. Because what he's good at is right there doing that thing right now.
Yep.
And that's what actors are good at. Actors are good at acting.
Yeah.
But we've also got real lives.
Yep.
And we're all human beings. And it needs to stop there. This whole idolization thing.
Yeah.
And this whole, we need to knock you down to our size to make you human. Actors are already human. They don't need to be reminded of how hard the world is, because only 1% of us are actual celebrities.
And you know what? They tell you what's fun? Like, coming on here, I know you're in Office Space. You look larger than life to me, but it's fun to come on here and talk to you about pineapple, of all things.
Right?
Yeah, like that's something that Fox News and entertainment.
Sauteed mushroom. I'm a fan of sauteed mushrooms. That's my thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. If you was on the red carpet someplace, they wouldn't ask you about pineapple,
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to say, who are you wearing? Who have you talked to? What's your next project? Who cares, man? These are not human questions. You're not standing at a bus stop asking people, who they work with. I don't know. In Hollywood, I would say, and across America, I was just talking to a friend of mine who's from Europe, and he was saying, in Europe, nobody asks me what I do for a living. The questions are all about the quality of life and what do you do with your time, and how do you spend your time. Not what is your profession and where do you make your money.
Mm-hmm.
And he says only in America is everyone so worried about other people's financial positions and their celebrity mark on the world.
outside acting, like, what are your passions? Like, what do you, if you have a day off, what do you like to do?
These are the questions. I'm big into volunteering. I have for the past year been giving platelets at the Red Cross in the U.S. That takes that blood and uses it for cancer patients.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes any given day, it takes 3 to 4 hours to get the needle set and for them to drain me and then put the blood back into me. And then it takes like 3 to 5 days to get the platelets back up so that I can go back in and do it. And I'm not doing it on a weekly basis, but it's once every 2 weeks I hit the Red Cross to do that. I try to give my time to the homeless and the needy shelters, just because there are so many in Southern California. It's ridiculous. And I'm sure it's that way across the country.
Yep.
But here in my community, being able to do what I can, and to hear these people's stories, like a lot of them do have mental health issues. And I'm fascinated that we don't have more public health that is available to people who desperately need it, like these people. Not to mention the psychology that it goes through. If you are homeless, it breaks you down. Mm-hmm. And these people will tell you their heartbreaking stories of, I was doing this and I was making, $80,000 to $100,000 a year, and then it was taken out from underneath me, and I had no other place to go, and I didn't know what else to do with my life. And now I'm here eating soup out of a styrofoam bowl, shoulder to shoulder with 80 other people who are homeless. And like none of these people wanted to be here or be in that position. Mm-hmm. So to bring any kind of sense of normalcy, or to be able to have a real conversation with these people, to remind them, hey, you're a human being and the world sees you as a human being, that's important for me. Now that said, I'm not patting myself on the back. Now I'll go to my other selfish joy. I love kite flying. I'm a big kite flyer. And so I make my own kites sometimes, but for the most part, I've got 2 kites that I love, and we get an afternoon breeze that comes in Southern California, and you'll either find me at a park or, sometimes if I can make it out to the beach, I go out to the beach and fly kites.
Well, be careful, because Charlie Brown says there's a kite-eating tree out there.
Exactly. I hear Charlie Brown has troubles with it all the time. So
do you have those days with your kite?
That's why I have to build kites from time to time.
Well, I'm glad you enjoy that, and I've seen pictures on Facebook. I know you do a lot of volunteering and stuff, and I think that's commendable. I've donated to a lot of charities and stuff too, so I get that. And of course, the Red Cross is definitely one of those worthy causes to go for.
Sure. Well, and the thing is I may be a celebrity in some people's eyes, but my celebrity is not paying my bills right now, so I can't donate. So what else can I do with my time? And that's to give it in any way that I can. So I do what I can.
Yeah. Don't you wish you could have been had Jennifer Aniston be your horrible boss?
Oh man, I tell you, there's a new Fred Savage show on right now, mm-hmm. and it's called. Oh gosh, I think it's on Fox, it's not on Fox, but it's called What in the Heck Was That? And it's like The Walking Dead show after The Walking Dead. It's called Talking Dead.
Okay.
It's kind of like a review show of the show just before it, mm-hmm. and he's the host. But it's the show that he's talking about is a show called The Flare, I think. And I want so badly for somebody from that show to call me and say, hey, dude, connection. Like, let's just have you on and you can do 5 minutes. Because it looks like a real kind of interview show where Fred Savage is just asking celebrities, friends of his and people from the show, what's going on in their life. And it's a funny show. I don't know how long it's going to last, but if it goes to a second season, I'd love to see if I can get on it.
Yes, cool. Outside of your scenes in Office Space, do you have any favorites? Favorite scenes?
I mean, anything with Dietrich Bader, um, anything with Stephen Root. God, that guy. Oh, he's just brilliant. I've been watching him. I don't know if you're a fan of Barry at all, his HBO show. But just absolutely a brilliant actor, and to see him, it's not like it's beyond being dedicated to the character. You just believe that he is the guy you're seeing him being, and he does it so well, so effortlessly. So I would say those guys. I'll be honest with you. Watching myself in that show, I feel like I play the background for most of the talent that's going on in that show because everybody is so good at what they do. Obviously beating up the fax machine, brilliant.
Yeah.
The traffic scenes where he's just spouting out the rap and then he sees a whole person on the side of the street and he has to turn down the radio and stop singing. Like, it's just brilliant.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it's relatable too, and
Exactly.
it's something that Mike Judge seems to tap into well. I'll even say this about Extract, the scenes where the guy is trying to avoid his neighbor, and these neighbors got these weird cliques that you can relate to, and you can understand why this guy wants to avoid this guy. He's trying to avoid being rude. Yeah. And
like, hey, you want to come over? Nah, man, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, like stuff like that, and I don't know. It just works. So, yeah. So,
man, watch your cornhole.
Hey, watch your cornhole. I do need to ask though, if there's any projects you do have coming up that you're open to talking about.
I have. I mean, nobody's seen me doing anything in so long because I took a very much needed hiatus to figure out if I even wanted to do this thing anymore, and turns out I do. And in that whole interim, it's been about 5 years. I've written 2 television shows.
Okay.
Both kind of related to my life, but both are going to be, I would say, in the dark comedy / satire / sci-fi world. And I am currently talking to an agent to see if they're interested in repping me for it. I've talked to the production companies that I'd like to have read it, and they're saying that due to what's going on in Hollywood right now, there's a whole packaging issue where agencies have been taking both the stuff that their writers are writing and the directors that they're representing and the actors that they're representing, and they're putting them all together, which is illegal because that's monopolizing and they're not allowed to do it, and that's been happening a lot in Hollywood. But because of that, now I have to have an agent represent me. But these production companies know me. They're like, oh my God, yeah, we know you. Unfortunately, you have to have someone represent you for us to be able to read your material, and we will be looking for it. Just tell them that they need to tell us that they represent you, and we will immediately open this stuff. And I'm like, that's great. And so now I'm waiting on an agent to tell me that they're willing to do that. So as soon as that happens, I might start getting some meetings for these things.
Oh, I hope so. You also did...
Exactly. It's just amazing. Everybody wants their 2 pounds of flesh out of everything you do. So
yes.
It's a matter of finding people who are willing to take that flesh quickly and move the ball along. But right now I'm in hold. So I think within a couple of weeks, if this guy says no, I'll move on to another agent. But if he says yes, then we'll see how he wants to proceed.
Talk about Prank Boy.
Prank Boy. That's an animated show.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Thessaly Lerner, one of the hardest working and most talented people I know in our industry, that anybody who knows her knows how hard she works. She's also on Facebook. She's known as the Ukulele because she does these amazing childlike ukulele shows that are just absolutely wonderful, and everybody dresses up, and it's so colorful and it's so wonderful, but it's childish and adult. Like she just spans, and it's so effortless. She's just a really amazing talent, and she's really big into animated stuff. And she put together this animated show, and she said, "Todd, I just see you as the voice of the lead guy. Would you mind doing this?" And I said, "Come on, yeah. I've got a mic set up in my room. I'm ready to record whenever." So I laid down the track, and 6 months later, she showed me this animated thing, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you're also in something called Astrid
Strudelman, yes.
The Unicorn Whisperer. Do you whisper to unicorns?
I'm a big fan of unicorns. Big fan. Dinosaurs and unicorns. They live. They gamble and while away in the same glens and valleys of the world where I'm from. Yeah. Again, another one of Thessaly's things. She's just incredibly, like, she comes up with probably 5 show ideas a day, and she writes them all out, and then she goes to a production company she knows in Atlanta. She lives out in Atlanta now, and she pitches them, and they'll accept anything from 0 to all of them in a week, and then it's just up to them to create the thing. She's actually got some animated films that she's doing coming up, and she's also doing some live action stuff. And she told me, she says, "Todd, if you come out to Atlanta, you'll be working nonstop with me." Unfortunately, it's really low paying work, so it's as much as I would love to help her, I need to pay my rent as well. So it's that give and take. I can help her when I can.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Todd, it was wonderful having you come on here today and celebrate.
Greg, thank you so much for reaching out, man. It's good.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? It's nice to keep in touch with you, and like I said, the door is open for you, You got any projects coming up, and, it's nice that, especially today, it was just, I just threw that out there. I was like, you want to come on for the 20th anniversary? Like, you bet, It was just fantastic to be able to connect with you and stay connected with you, and I really appreciate that you trust me too, because because it's hard when you got people in media out there that make it difficult for you.
That's true. Yeah. Well, and you just never know what they're going to turn your words around to make it say what they want it to say, So.
Exactly. Well, you've already tested the waters with me, so you
exactly.
So I know I know
I can expect the good stuff from you.
Plus pineapple. You trusted me.
Exactly. Good dose of fiber when I talk to you. I love it.
Yes. I was wondering, though, before you go, if you mind doing a plug for my show.
Absolutely. Hey there. This is Todd Duffey. You are listening live to Greg Gilbert on his awesome show, Python's Paradise.
Absolutely. And I hope you're safe from the earthquakes, man.
We'll see. I don't know. So far, very lucky.
No tremors where you are?
Not. We've had some pretty big trembling going on out here, but it's not as serious as the actual epicenter. That town got just decimated.
That's unfortunate.
They're probably going to have to start over. So it's kind of scary up there.
Yeah. Well, we are celebrating 20 years of Office Space, 20 years of red staplers, 20 years of Flair, 20 years of beaten up fax machines.
Yes. Oh. I love it.
God bless you, Todd. Thank you so much for coming on here, and we will stay in touch.